Hello, friends. Okay, another week of astrology. So, this is going to be the beginning of August. So, August 2nd, all the way to Saturday, August 8th. And then that'll move us into the week of the solar eclipse in Leo. So, a very interesting week that we're developing in between the full moon in Aquarius and this new moon in Leo, which is going to be the first eclipse for the new eclipse seasons that we're experiencing. So this week, we start off the week at the very beginning of the day with the moon in Pisces. Now, the moon in Pisces is an escapism. It likes to relax and be very dreamy and flowy and not really, it doesn't like to deal with a lot of aggression. But we're starting off the day with a square to Mars and then an opposition to Venus. So this is definitely something that we are going to maybe feel a little bit. I think what we're going to experience with this Pisces square Mars and opposing Venus is, this is what it feels like. It feels like we've had this ongoing challenge between the Mars energies in our charts and the Venus energies. Venus likes to be organized, likes to have a detailed preview of what's going to happen energetically. It likes to be aware. It likes to be ready and stable and grounded. And Mars in Gemini is kind of all over the place. Very unorganized, carrying too many things, scattered. And it just is, it could be just an ongoing change and not as organized as Venus would like. And it looks like the emotions here is from the tension of this square, and the moon's in the middle of it dealing with this emotionally, and Pisces likes to escape. So this could be a morning where you kind of want to retreat and not have to deal with the tension between Venus and Mars. It could be a day, a morning, because this the moon changes signs in the afternoon. So this could be the beginning of a day where you feel like you want to escape. Moon in Pisces has tendencies to pull towards alcohol and drugs for that escapism, so they're not having to deal with the reality of a situation. But just keep that in mind at the beginning of Sunday. There might be some emotional tension based on ongoing energies that we're experiencing between Mars and Venus. Mars and Venus has been in a square, an ongoing square, since the beginning of July. And, well, Venus first squared Uranus and then got into an ongoing square with Mars as it moved forward. Venus was moving forward. So there was some type of challenge that was ongoing. It became exact on the full moon, so something might have came to the head, might have came out, might have been discussed. And then as the rest of this week happens, Venus is moving forward and will enter Libra, I think, on Thursday. And then the square kind of dissipates. So that challenge is no longer here. Venus will be in her home sign of Libra, and it will be very much more harmonious for Venus in that aspect. So right now we're still feeling emotions tied with this challenge. And then at 1:37 p.m., the moon moves into Aries. So instead of feeling like they want to retreat, the moon gets kind of bold, maybe impulsive, maybe even argumentative. It's almost like she's had all that she can have, and she's like, you know what? This is what needs to be said. Or this is the actions. And it could just be an energetic moon, someone that's ready to start new beginnings, ready to start new things. So when the moon moves into Aries, she's going to have a conjunction with Neptune retrograde. So when she moves into Aries, there might be something emotionally that she is seeing for its true potential, an internal true potential in herself, and this new dream that she's putting forth. She sees the true potential and what it actually is. It's almost like the veil was dropped on what she thought before, and she sees things for what they are. She definitely is delusions are dissolving, and she's able to trust herself more internally based on this realization of how things actually are emotionally for this new beginning. She also is moving into, because she's conjunct with Neptune, she's moving into this minor grand trine. So she is sextiling both Pluto and Uranus. So there is some type of harmonizing with these new foundations that are being structured and this new change that's coming about. It's like the moon is really feeling these big changes, these big shifts, and is ready for these new starts with a new invigorated energy. During the same day on Sunday, Black Moon Lilith is opposite Mars, squaring Venus. And at the very beginning of the day, it does have some energies with the moon when it's still in Pisces. So Black Moon Lilith, remember, is unbridled truth. It likes to speak its unbridled truth. This is your shadow. This is the thing that wants to rebel a little bit, not be super for the collective, doesn't want to always do what everybody else is doing, kind of wants to go rogue a little bit, you know what I mean? And so in Sagittarius, Black Moon Lilith likes to speak her truth, likes autonomy. So when Mars is opposing Black Moon Lilith, there might be some type of mental and verbal tug of war between the truth or the taboo topics or statements, and maybe this nervous, anxious argument, almost like Mars just wants to overload or debate, wants to poke holes, win arguments, speed information overhaul, give you all this information and anxiously. But Black Moon Lilith is not going to sugarcoat the beliefs and make sure that we aren't staying in this institutional or moral hypocrisy just because of other people's opinions or perspectives. Black Moon Lilith squaring Venus could create some type of tension between you being polite or this over need for protection and love and a wild, untamed hunger for absolute freedom and truth. So it's almost like there could be a tension between you being neat or good and acceptable with this rebellious inner self. This is almost like the critic versus the wildfire, being really critical about what's going on and then just setting everything on fire. Being pure and taboo, like a clash between two wills, it seems like. This also could present as some type of shame from a past wound, something that you experienced and now you are feeling again. So it might not be something that you're actually sitting in at the time. So that is Sunday. Sunday is, it looks like it's going to be pretty harmonious with these big new changes that we are experiencing, but also there is that inner struggle or inner opposition with the Black Moon Lilith and the challenges that we're still experiencing between Mars and Venus. And on Monday, we have a pretty interesting aspect as Chiron and Taurus moves retrograde. So what Chiron and Taurus kind of stands for is this internal healing journey, so focused on self-worth, your values, material security, embodiment, how you feel about yourself in your body, and worthiness. This is definitely things that you could be healing. So this could be examining where you feel like you're not enough or not valuable enough or stable enough to receive abundance or pleasure or any kind of worthiness of abundance. This could be issues around self-worth, body image, financial security, your right to take up space. Right. And something I did want to mention that I read that I thought was fantastic. It said healing comes from not from fixing or improving yourself, but accepting that you're already valuable exactly as you are. Your worth is inherent, not earned. You don't have to do anything for you to be worthy. You know what I mean? And so this Chiron moving retrograde, these are the messages that you will be given during this time in retrograde in Taurus. Now, the Chiron will be retrograde on August 3rd. It's going to move retrograde all the way to January 6th, but during this time the Chiron does move back into Aries, so there will be some type of touching back on the I am statements. You're going to finish this identity healing work that we were experiencing previously. So there's something in Aries that it needs to wrap up around healing of your identity. And then it'll move back into Taurus on April 14th and then leave the shadow period on April 28th in 2027. So this is going to be a long journey, which starts now. So just get that in mind of these are the experiences or the messages or themes that you might see coming up between now and the end of the year, possibly. And then when it moves back into Aries, it'll have kind of a different message. It won't be around worthiness as much as it'll be around self-identity. And then coming back into Taurus in April, we're going to see these things pick up again, which we'll talk about when we get there. So remember, the moon is in Aries on Monday, and it has a trine to Jupiter and then a trine to the sun. And so this trine to Jupiter is going to be an emotional expansion around the areas that we are given some type of heart opening to, around the areas of our lives that we want to be bold and expand our creativity. This could be where we want to boldly shine these new desires that we have that we want to share with the world. The moon trining the sun, this could be an expansion and conscious self around our new desires and how we want to shine and show them to the world. So these are really good energetics on Monday. This could be a great day to work with other people, to share your creative new spark, the thing that you want to share with everyone. On the later that day, the moon is going to be conjunct Saturn in Aries retrograde. So the moon is you're emotionally coming to terms with the reality of the situation around this new dream that you're building. You're seeing things for what they are. Emotionally, this is very uplifting. So this could be a day where you can experience reality and be ready energetically for getting things accomplished, for new beginnings. On Tuesday, the moon at the very beginning of the day is it's still in Aries, and it squares Mercury in Cancer at 10:17 a.m. Now, Mercury is now direct, and it's moving very quickly. So we are experiencing, in the month of August, the Mercury is going to be changing signs twice. It's going to change from Cancer to Taurus on Tuesday of this next week. And, from Cancer to Leo next week. And it's going to move into Virgo by the end of August. So we are going to experience Mercury changing signs during the week of the solar eclipse. And it will have a very interesting configuration with a shape that I see coming, and which we'll talk about next week. But Mercury is going to play a very big role in that configuration that's coming up next week. But it is moving very quickly. The shape will hold for like 4 days, perhaps. But right now, the moon in Aries is in a square to Mercury in Cancer. So this looks like almost even an argumentative moon with some tensions around communications of the heart. So maybe there is something that the moon strikes up that it's feeling a challenge around the Cancer areas of your chart emotionally. around these new energies and new beginnings that the moon wants to get ready and go with. Almost like an impatience, because Aries is very impatient. It's ready to go. It's ready to go. And Mercury and Cancer, I feel like Cancer is not necessarily like Aries, you know what I mean? So like it's there's a tension because there's a tenderness in Cancer and an aggression with this moon in Aries. And there's a clashing of communications. Mercury has a softness here. And that moon is a lot. So there is some type of challenge around emotions on Tuesday and communications. Then the moon sextiles also Mars and Gemini. And this is a harmonious sextile, some kind of relationship, because sextiles are like Venus lines. So it's like harmonious relationship between the emotions and Aries and wild Gemini or wild Mars and Gemini. So Mars and Gemini is just everywhere. And the emotions around Aries really works with Mars because Mars is ruled by Aries. And so this moon feels like it's at home with this Mars and Gemini, even though Gemini is very scattered. It's not as push forward and get things accomplished, but they're very harmonious. They work together well. So there is something that might be able to push through or being worked on Tuesday because Mars is ready to go and this moon in Aries is as well. So there might be some type of harmonious movement at the beginning of the day, and then the moon moves into Taurus around 10:35 p.m. later that night. So that might be a good work day or get things accomplished, but by the end of the day the moon's gonna be ready for a nap and some snacks. And so as the moon in Taurus, as it moves into Taurus in 10:35, it's gonna have a conjunction with this new Chiron and Taurus retrograde. So there might be some soft emotions around uncovering hidden beliefs around whether you're allowed to receive abundance without or rest without earning them. You might be facing fears related to money, poverty, mindset, stability, or survival. There might be some type of emotion around healing past disconnection, shame, or stress that could be stored in the body. Just some Chiron retrograde themes might come up on Tuesday night. You might still feel them a little bit on Wednesday, but the moon moves forward very quickly. And it's going to have a square with Pluto, Jupiter, and the moon, and the sun, So at 5:43 a.m. is when the moon in Taurus is squaring Pluto, and this is on Wednesday. This is August 5th, Wednesday, August 5th. Oh, that's Eva's birthday. So this is some type of tension around the moon's want for stability, the moon's desire for being grounded, feeling secure, not wanting to hurry, not wanting to change anything. The moon in Taurus is very fixed. It doesn't like change at all, but it likes to beautify things. It likes to make things pretty. It likes to water the plants. But this Pluto in Aquarius, there's some kind of challenge around power and people, the collective, futuristic, innovative change around the foundational structures of our Aquarius areas of our chart. And the moon doesn't like change. The moon wants everything to just be like, stay here, I'll go get the snacks. We're gonna eat something. I'm gonna fix this with food and naps. It's true though. I know that's funny, but it's true. And then the moon is squaring Jupiter, and Jupiter is trying to expand our desires and get this heart opening on the areas of life that we want to shine, even our ego. This could be a clash of the moon wanting to chill and take a nap and Jupiter over exaggerating, almost shining too much ego. And Taurus is not for that. Taurus wants everything to be stable and not made bigger. Leo doesn't like change either. Leo wants everything to stay the same. Aquarius doesn't like change either. Aquarius likes things to stay the same. So these are all squaring fixed signs. So it seems like there's something that doesn't want to shift. Almost like that we are experiencing these changes, but there is something about it that doesn't want to shift. These expanding Leo areas. And then the moon is also squaring the sun in Leo. This is the expansion of conscious self, the expansion of our conscious desires. And there's some type of tension around the stability of our emotions, like wanting to stay grounded, wanting to stay in the body, sensual, like feeling this, but there's some type of challenge or tension around these conscious desires that doesn't feel stable. On Thursday, this is when Venus moves into Libra. Yay! Libra loves reciprocity. Libra loves that balance of equal, of give and take, of justice, of everything just, being balanced. This is Venus's one of her home signs. She does really well in Taurus and in Libra. And this is where my natal Libra is. Where my natal Venus is in Libra, 1 degrees. So this is very great time for me because it's a Venus return, which means there's a lot of love, opportunities for love that comes in. So when Venus moves into Libra, there's a lot more opportunity for relationships. Good relationship vibes are coming up. So if you're in a relationship, you could move your relationship forward very quickly just because of what's fixing to occur. And if you're not in a relationship, you might become in a relationship. You might get in a relationship upcoming. There's just a lot of really good relationship vibes that is coming online. So Venus moves into Libra at 3:13 p.m. on Thursday. The moon in Taurus is sextiling Mercury in Cancer. So there's some really good, stable, grounded emotions around this Mercury in Cancer. So it's very lovely feelings around communications around themes of relationships, around family, around even mother. So there might be some emotions. This could be relationship vibes because we have Taurus here. Taurus is stable, but it's very lovely. It's Venetian energy. So we do have that Venus flavor in this moon Taurus. And then we have Mercury and Cancer with some really good mind, the way you're processing information, some really good harmonious energy with the words that we're speaking. So it feels really lovely. This Thursday feels like a lovely day with Venus moving into Libra, and we don't have that square challenge tension from Mars anymore. The moon sextiling Mercury in Cancer, and then the sun trining Saturn in Aries. So this is an expansion of our conscious desires, and Saturn is here to promote stability, discipline, seeing things through for the long haul, but also seeing the truth of the situation. And this seems like our conscious desires are aligning with the truth of what's actually presenting in front of us. So there is some type of really good expansion of these new conscious desires that we are illuminating for the world to see, shining brightly in our conscious self, Thursday is a lovely day. Friday, as we move forward, the moon moves into Gemini. So the moon in Gemini, we know, is scattered. It could be very switchy on moods because Gemini's a lot, you know. Gemini is definitely What's up, chicken? Sorry for the commercial. Alright, you can't go in my garage though. I don't want you to go in my garage. I love you, chicken, but I don't want you to poop in my garage. I have the door cracked open and it will get in. Sorry about that commercial. So Friday, back to Gemini, moon in Gemini. So we have it could be some wishy-washy emotion, switching mind, switching mood. There's something that could just be make you just overwhelmed, anxious, buzzy. This is moon in Gemini. So moon in Gemini will be trining Venus. So maybe there's not a whole lot of work that's going to get done unless you're beautifying your home or you're doing something around relationships. I feel like you're not going to go outside and work really hard. So the moon in Gemini, you might have some fun. There might be a lot of fun that is had, but not super hard work. Then the moon in Gemini is also trining these new foundational changes in Pluto and Aquarius. And this is at the very beginning of the day. So we are experiencing that trine at 8:53. Then we have a sextile at Neptune at 9:07 a.m. And then the moon is conjunct Uranus and Gemini at 10:52 a.m. So everything that has happened, what I just said, will be early in the morning. So the not getting a lot of work done could be like totally middle of the night, early morning. You might not experience that exact feeling all day long, but that's definitely something that will be in the very early morning. So every time this moon moves into this minor grand trine configuration that we have, whether it's conjunct Neptune, whether it's conjunct Pluto, whether it's conjunct Uranus, I feel like it is reinvigorating these changes that we're putting into our lives, almost like adding another layer of flavor to it. It is helping us move forward with these new changes and like almost like emotionally uploading new information into this configuration. So when we had that conjunction with Pluto, we actually had the Aquarius full moon. That was a very powerful conjunction. And then when we had the conjunction to Neptune at the beginning of this week, we're seeing this emotional flavor of these new dreams and seeing things for what they are. I feel like it's telling us what is and what is possible and what we've learned, like emotionally what we've learned, and now we're putting this a little bit further into play. So this conjunction with Uranus, there is going to be some emotions around these changes. There might be an impulsive willingness to act rashly with the moods changing so quickly, because remember, Uranus is change. It could be radical change. And this Uranus in Gemini is actually the apex of an upcoming configuration that we're going to see in the following week, the week of the solar eclipse. So I feel like it is very interesting to really feel the energy around Friday and feel what these emotions around this changes. There might be some really cool genius downloads that will be coming from this Uranus in Gemini in the next weeks to come. So just be aware of that. And then the moon in Gemini is going to be sextiling Jupiter and Leo later in that afternoon. So there might be some type of expansion around how we are presenting ourselves with these new desires and how we are processing information emotionally with these, around these new changes that we have going on in our lives. Saturday, we end the week with the moon still in Gemini, and it's sextiling Saturn and the sun. So whatever this trine that we were dealing with, the sun sextiling I can't remember where I said that, man. I feel like the sun was sextiling Saturn. Maybe it was on Thursday. Here it is. The sun's sextiling Saturn, and I said that was kind of an expansion of your conscious desires and this new disciplined responsibility on building this new dream, but seeing this for what it is, seeing things clearly, exactly how they are. So the moon is sextiling both Saturn retrograde in Aries and the sun in Leo. So there is some type of harmonious emotion around this new way of shining your light and your desires for the world to see, and the dream that you're building, and seeing things clearly for what they are. So it seems like emotionally things are lining up to usher in this new dream that we're building, and being very conscious around these new desires that we have and how we are shining them for everyone to see in the world. So that kind of wraps up the energy for next week. I hope you guys have a great week in getting ready for this solar eclipse that's coming up at 20 degrees of Leo in your charts. If you have any questions about where this is showing up for you personally or your personal natal chart, let me know. I am doing weekly readings that are more specific to your chart, just like this, but telling you where to expect this in your life. So if you're interested in these personalized readings, let me know and I can send you your rising sign.